Good afternoon, everybody. It's Lorraine Alternative Homesteading on, I think it's Thursday, August 7, 2025. It's definitely August 7, 2025. And I hope everybody's doing well today. It's sunny, it's a little humid, a little balmy. And today we're going to discuss identifying cyberstalkers, agent provocateurs, government agents, and paid perpetrators on social media. But before I get into that, please hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel grow, get the message out there. And for those newcomers, welcome. My name is Lorraine. And I don't care what anybody on the internet says. That I am a targeted person from Manalapan, New Jersey, a home I lived in, 52 Sutton Drive, Manalapan, New Jersey, for 30 years as original owner. I incurred more than $300,000 in vandalism to that house before the criminals finally allowed me to sell it after 3+ years to one of their copper perpetrator friends. And that's how this program works. And for all the people out there, just remember that there are different types of targeting. People experience different things depending on when their targeting began. Like mine started, 15 years ago. There are a lot of new targeted people that have come into the community maybe 3-4 years in, and you're not going to experience what other people are. So you might automatically discredit what you're hearing from the people who have been enduring this for decades sometimes. Also, a young person, somebody in their 20s or 30s, is not going to be targeted the same way somebody in their 50s and 60s will, who have accumulated wealth over time. For all the perpetrators out there, or targeted people that claim that if a targeted person owns property, they must be a perp. Well, that couldn't be further from the truth. And we have testimony on my channel of many people who own land, own property, and have provided their testimony about real estate mobbing, which is very unique in and of itself in targeting someone. But I want to give a shout out to the person that sent me the birthday card. You know who you are. And I just want to let you know, in case you didn't receive my email, that the criminals came into my house and stole your note to me that was inside the card. And they also stabbed your artwork here. I'll block your name here. They stabbed your art here. Let me just show you if I can find it here. Right there. You see it shiny? Stab over there. We'll turn it upside down so you could see where it was in fact stabbed. And this is not a new occurrence. They do this pretty much to my books. They do to my clothing. Oh, and speaking of clothing, I want to show you. This is another tactic that these losers, and that's what they are. They're losers. They think they're like Illuminati or they're special. There's nothing special about them. Special people pay attention to their own business. They don't have to stalk other people for money. They make money themselves. So anyway, I'm just going to show you, and please, YouTube, this is for educational purposes only. I am a size 4. I've sometimes been a size 2, if you can wrap your mind around how small that is. Okay, so I'm a size 4. I've been a size 4 for, I don't know, a couple of decades now. So since I'm living here in Jackson County, Kentucky, yes, I'm just going to call that because I can't stand Kentucky anymore, I have had to purchase socks and panties every 4 to 6 months. I'm going to show you why. They use chemicals. They stretch your clothing. This is psychological, financial abuse, and torture. Just imagine some loser coming into your house, going into your dirty laundry, and stretching it out so that it no longer fits you. So I'm going to show you, this is what they've done to my panties, which are now chemicalized, so I will not wear these panties. And let me just show you here. Okay, you see that? So now the panties themselves look like they're a grayish, pinkish color, when their true color is the pink that you're seeing there. So I can't tell you the kind of technology that they utilize to do this, but this is what they've done to a lot of my clothing. In addition to the fact that they're completely stretched out, they hang off of my hips. Okay, so yeah, you can see here, this is what they've done to my panties here. And these were new, by the way. Like I said, I buy them every 4 to 6 months. That's trash. Now let me bring you to my socks. And for the cat people out there, you're going to think they're really cute. And they are. Look how cute they are. They're little cat socks. And I bought like a 5 pair of cute little cat socks. Right? So now you will see when I show you that the sizes are different. These are completely stretched out. Like there's no ankle. There's no ankle left here. When I went to go put them on my feet, they were literally falling off my feet because there's no elastic left. This is what they look like. You can see how wide they are compared even to this one, which they also stretched out. But this one has a little bit more stretch to it than these do. But these are also going to be in the garbage. So I just want to show you, that's a tactic that they use, is I don't want to wear clothing that has been touched by these criminals. And you don't know what kind of chemical has been utilized on them to cause them to stretch, discolor like that. So either way, it's garbage, it's trash. And this is another way that they asset strip you. Nobody should have to buy panties every 4 to 6 months, or socks. Socks can last sometimes a year, sometimes even longer if you've got a lot of pair of socks and you're not hard on your socks. But, and I could prove it. I could prove it in both my Amazon account and wherever I have purchased socks, there is an online footprint of every time I've purchased socks. And it is absolutely remarkable in a year how much money I spend on socks and panties. It's off the charts. But anyway, let's go on to identifying cyberstalkers. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I evidently have another one. And so does another YouTube creator in the targeting community. I'm not going to name names, but this woman is a stalker. I'm going to tell you that this woman contacted me first, the first time ever. I believe it was February of 2025. And it wasn't via email. It was a voice message. Obviously, I didn't know the person, don't know the number, the name, went to voicemail. She leaves me a message, and I'm thinking, how did she get my phone number? I don't post my phone number. Now, obviously, for all the sleuths out there, I'm sure you can find it somewhere, but just because you do doesn't mean you can call me. And I will tell anybody, unless you are a friend of mine, unless I have already spoken to you, you do not have permission to call me. I am too busy, and I am going to look at you as being some kind of a stalker. So do not call me under any reason. You email me first. And those are my rules. I'm not going to say it's for everybody, but that's how I look at it. I spend too much time taking care of animals on my property here and creating content to educate the public about what's happening, to be engaged by cyberstalkers. And you know what? A cyberstalker can be a targeted person because there are targeted perpetrators. There are. I will not engage with targeted perpetrators if I'm aware of who they are. And sometimes we don't know. And like I said, I'm too busy to even listen to all the videos of people that I want to listen to, let alone the ones that are slandering me online, eavesdropping in my chats, reposting snippets from my chats to pick apart, to grow your channel. And this is a warning to you, little girl. I've got your number. Literally have your phone number. Because you called me in February without my permission. Then you sent me this crazy ass long text message, again, without permission. And then a series of emails. And then more emails slandering me or pitting me against another creator. I am not going to get involved in everybody else's drama. I don't have the time. I don't have the patience. I am literally, and I'll say it again, I am a senior citizen. I don't engage myself in this little backstabbing bullshit. And if you're going to continue, little girl, slandering me to get likes and get your little followers there and stalk my subscribers, you too will be treated just like the gorilla boy who stalked me for a whole year. So keep it up. You now are being monitored. You have been reported to YouTube twice so far. And I'll just continue. So anyway, what are the red flags across all types of social media? This is a guide, and it provides an overview of the telltale signs, characteristics, and behavior patterns that may help to identify individuals engaging in coordinated harassment, surveillance manipulation, and information gathering on social media platforms. And this is for educational purposes only. And I have engaged the assistance of ChatGPT. 1. Profiles with limited personal content or a vague bios. Excessive posting frequency or 24/7 activity patterns. Frequent use of psychological triggers or gaslighting tactics. Sudden interest in your personal life, your location, your beliefs, or your movements. Attempts to steer conversations into polarizing or emotionally charged topics. And I'm going to add something here. That's basically what this individual is doing. But I will say that in my last live, there were several newcomers. And I'm not saying that you're perpetrators at all. But there were obviously more people listening to my live chat than hitting the thumbs up. That to me is a telltale sign, especially when I say, please, remember to hit the thumbs up. When you've got, X number of people listening and at least a dozen are not hitting the thumbs up or possibly hitting the thumbs down, you know that you're being stalked. And there was at least one individual towards the end of the live stream who kept saying, I don't know what you look like. Why don't you post your photos, etc.? For anybody that's been following my channel and have seen my past interviews, my photo's there. My photo's online. It's there. Okay? But anyway, this is not Match.com. You don't need to know what I look like. But nevertheless, my videos with my image are there on my own channel. But that to me, when somebody is persistent about knowing what I look like, it does remind me of like cyberstalking, Match.com. This is not a dating website. You don't need to know what I look like. Do you know how many YouTube creators that are not targeted never post images of themselves? And there's a good reason for that. Facial recognition, stealing those images and using them for their own use, like my last cyberstalker, who would take my images and create videos about my face. So there's a good reason for people to not photograph their loved ones or their children, and in some instances, even your pets. Nevertheless, there are interviews of me when my camera was working here, and the criminals have disabled the camera settings on my laptop. So my last two interviews with David A., we couldn't get an image of me. Even though I dressed myself up and put on makeup and washed my hair and did all those cute things for a presentation, I had no video. No verbal, no physical video. Not my problem, not my fault. I provide educational information here on YouTube because this is a serious subject matter. It's a serious topic. We are being tortured. And I have no place in my life, on my channel, or for YouTube creators that are out there trying to get views, slandering other people to get views, taking snippets of my videos so that you can pick it apart. That, to me, is a cyberstalker. And according to ChatGPT, a cyberstalker monitors your posts, comments on your online behavior obsessively. They may impersonate others or use multiple fake accounts. They harass through direct messages, emails, or post negative or intrusive comments. It's sort of like this woman calls me out of the blue and then sends me a tirade of emails and text message. I didn't know her from a hole in the wall. And now, all these months later, she's doing the unthinkable, not only to me, but to others. So this is a warning sign. Whether she's targeted or not, this is alarming behavior. In fact, given my personal experience and educational experience, it sounds like somebody has a mental health problem. But this is not a diagnosis. This is for educational purposes only. So what happens also with cyberstalkers, they often escalate behavior if they're blocked or ignored. They may have a history of stalking or online abuse patterns. And again, this is going on since February. Now, then, of course, there's the red flags across all forms of social media, the cyberstalkers, the agent provocateurs. And as a targeted person, we're well versed with agent provocateurs because they're the ones that drive back and forth all day long, honk their horns, throw poopy diapers in front of your mailbox, call you out to the county road to duke it out with you, stick dildos in your mailbox or dead animals, etc. These are agent provocateurs, like the one when I lived at 52 Sutton Drive, Manalapan, New Jersey, a home I lived in for 30 years. An agent provocateur moved in next door to me. I called her the Blondie Perp. It seems like they have a, and this is not a diss for anyone with blonde hair. I don't know what it is. They keep sticking these blonde perpetrators next door to me. Like, I've got one right here down the block. And then in New Jersey, there was one that they moved in after Steve Sarantino moved out and moved across the street to purchase the exact same model house. Yeah, it doesn't get more stupid than that. Yeah, moved out a year to the date after they moved in, perpetrator, and then moves directly diagonally across the street and purchases the exact same model house. Because these are real estate mobbers. But anyway, the Blondie Perp, she was an agent provocateur, moves in next door to call the police on me by instigating, vandalizing my property, instigating a problem, and they intentionally try to provoke you into saying or doing something incriminating or extreme. But it actually doesn't matter. If you blink at them, if you ignore them, they will still incriminate you by concocting a fake narrative. You know, they're fusion center operatives. They may introduce illegal or violent rhetoric into conversations to entrap others. They seem overly focused on activism, conspiracy, or anti-government topics. They switch personas quickly from being agreeable to being confrontational. They try to bait you into making public statements or illegal plans. Like, this woman called me. For all you people out there that know me, you're going to crack up. Especially if you know the difference between a witch and a warlock, okay? She actually called me a warlock. Now, for anybody that knows anything about witchcraft, a warlock is generally of the male sex. And witches can be both male or female, but generally people look at it as a witch as a female, right? But a warlock is generally a male. So I am being called out as a warlock on this individual's channel. I kid you not. And not only is that not true, it's totally misinformation. And this person needs to get educated on what witchcraft is and isn't. Okay? And also, when you make defamatory statements in a public forum about another person, that can be reported to YouTube. You can report them for misinformation and defamation. And if they refuse to take down their video, you just keep reporting it. Okay? Now, agent provocateurs, they will try to bait you into making public statements or illegal plans. So basically, I guess this person was baiting me, but I did not even know that she created this video. Somebody gave it to me. I unsubscribed to this person's channel because, well, not because she was so much talking about me and other people. It's just every time I would click on a recent video posted, it was always angry. It was always slandering someone else. And it's like, I don't have the time to listen to this unless it's like really important, you know. And this is literally, my channel is for educational purposes. I want to bring you information to help you cope with what's going on. I demonstrate with evidence what I am experiencing as a targeted person. What happens to me doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen to you. But I've had more than dozens of people contact me either via comment or privately that they are so grateful that I've provided some of my evidence because now they know that what they're experiencing, that they're not crazy, that it is happening to other people. So now the difference between an agent and provocateur and a government agent, you know, those fusion center people, the FBI. I don't know, does InfraGard fall under a government agent? Leave a comment down below. They may pose as allies or supportive figures to gain trust. They ask unusually detailed questions about your beliefs, network, or offline life, basically, which is nobody's damn business anyway. They subtly guide discussions towards surveillance, weapon use, or dissent. They share suspiciously specific legal or technical knowledge. Now, I've experienced that. I mean, I'll be the first one to say, I am not this technical person at all. Like, when you guys send me these videos on these weapons and stuff, like, I'm clueless. They often lack a genuine online presence or any kind of emotional depth. And then, of course, there's the paid perpetrators, the trolls or private contractors. Now, these creatures operate under multiple accounts to create a false consensus. You know, like that gorilla creature Who had, oh, and what about Gary Coleman, who has like 15, 20 personas? That's okay. That Gary Coleman person was reported to VTube, I don't know, dozens of times, and I filed FCC complaints. So, and that's how I handle it. You know, if these people are reported enough, they have to disappear. They'll resurface under another name. But remember, they're paid. So they may be only paid for a certain contracted time. It could be a week, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 3 weeks, it could be a year. And then when the money runs out, when their contract runs out, they are gone, gone, gone. So you will not hear from them again. Because they're not paid. And actually, because they're under contract, they may have a stipulation in there that after the contract ends, they cannot under any circumstances recontact the person that they victimize. So keep that in mind. So these paid perpetrators, they operate under multiple accounts to create a false consensus. They push specific narratives to discredit whistleblowers and activists. They may use humor, mockery, or fake empathy as tools of manipulation. They attempt to isolate you by turning others against you subtly. They use psychological manipulation tactics as love bombing or smear campaigns. And I think they did this to Michaela Raines. I mean, it certainly happened to me. It definitely happened to me. I have to say, in reading this happened to me on Facebook. Back in the early 200s, actually, with my astrology. So, you know, I have to wonder how far back my targeting actually goes. So how do you protect yourself? Trust your instincts. If something feels off, it likely is. Keep records and screenshots and logs of all the suspicious interactions. Limit sharing personal information and geolocation data. Use strong privacy settings and two-factor authentication. Avoid engaging directly and use the block and report functions as needed. So we're going to review this again. These are the types of perpetrators that may be stalking you. Identifying the stalkers, agent provocateurs, government agents, and paid perpetrators on social media. We discussed the general red flags across all media types. The cyberstalkers, the agent provocateurs, the government agents, the paid perpetrators, trolls, private contractors, and how to protect yourself. And by the way, as far as government contractors go, just beware that some of your local coppers, they all have YouTube profiles and Facebook profiles. And those coppers, they stalk your channel too. Yeah, I guarantee I've got some little effers from Manalapan, New Jersey, stalking my channel. And mostly because I created a nice playlist on their behalf. I wanted to make them popular too for what they've done to me. Anyway, this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading, exposing one criminal at a time here in Jackson County, Kentucky. And I hope everybody's doing well. Leave your comment down below. Have you experienced any cyberstalker, agent provocateur, or government agents? And feel free to expose them by name. That's what we do here. We expose them by name. Oh, and speaking of exposing people by name, I know that there's one other person here in Jackson County that is stalking and harassing and controlling the sale of my property. And it baffles the mind that this person cannot pass one financial audit in this county. Now, this is a very serious matter when people are voting for somebody to be a magistrate. Now, let me just explain to you, it's not what you think. It's not a judge. It's not a judge where you go into court and a judge that, you know, orders things and stuff like that. I don't know where they get this name from, you know, but these losers, they like to give themselves these special names, a magistrate. Basically what he is he oversees the financial and road department. They call them magistrates. However, given the criteria that ChatGPT gave me here, that there's no online bio, You cannot locate any information on them. You cannot contact them at all for any reason. You have to wonder, how is it that somebody voted a magistrate into this county for 4 years when there's no photo, no bio, no education, no information, no method of contacting this person? And then I thought to myself, it must be because I'm being blocked from seeing it online. So I asked ChatGPT. ChatGPT says, you're right. There is no information online about this person. And let me just pull it up here so I can give you a little bit more information here. Yeah, ChatGPT says there is no information, that in order to contact this person, I actually have to contact Judge Gabbard. Yeah. There is no publicly available contact information, biography, or photo of Magistrate Danny Todd online. And then he goes on to say, it's not uncommon in small rural counties where public officials may not have individual websites or online profiles. Well, I'm going to say anybody that's going to be in a ruling capacity for 4 years, how would you vote for somebody if you don't know who the hell they are? A magistrate is not a judge. And in Kentucky government, basically a magistrate, they are legislative and fiscal officers. They are not courtroom judges. Fiscal meaning financial. Like they are an overseer or possibly a decision maker over financial affairs for the county. So how is it that we can't pass a friggin' audit? And given the fact that one of my neighbors who was driving down the county road when I was picking up all that bitchcraft and stuff, and I have it recorded, that she says, yeah, like $500,000 went missing and they can't find it. Well, I'm going to offer an opinion about where the money is. Just because I'm a targeted person here in Jackson County, Kentucky. I think these little fuckers are getting paid under the table. That's where the money's going. They're getting paid under the table. The money, it's all obfuscated. They're doing everything inhumanly possible so that my property doesn't sell. And it was this magistrate that gave the order to destroy my property, the ditch line, with some new backhoe or ditch digger, cutting all the tree roots, cutting the supporting ditch wall, and it was only my property, only mine. So yeah, so this person, this faceless, bioless, educationless person, fortunately, we have a remote viewer in the community whose name I will not mention. And it was because of her comments that had me thinking about this perpetrator, and also the fact that I had reported the county to the state trooper, and I filed an incident report about a felony. The felony was moving my land property marker, which is registered with the county. But these losers, these criminals, they failed to research where the marker would be and decided to damage and relocate it. So when this trooper, when I finally got in touch with the trooper a second time, he says, well, you know, we can't investigate it because we received a phone call that it was the magistrate that ordered that destruction on your property. I'm calling it destruction, but they're going to call it the road work on an easement that they don't possess. There is no recorded easement on my property, which means that there is no recorded easement on my deed or my property, which means that you cannot use that ditch line without my permission. So that magistrate ordered direct vandalism and illegal trespassing on my property, moving a legal land survey, which is a felony. Thank you so much, magistrate. Post your photo online. Well, anyway, this woman in the community, a remote viewer, says, I know who did it, and she told me exactly what this bushy-haired man with the sideburns looked like, with a pot belly. Just saying. I don't know. This is for educational purposes only, and I am merely repeating something that a remote viewer told me, that this is what this perpetrator looks like. And mind you, ChatGPT gave me all the information. In Kentucky, magistrates are elected. They serve part of the fiscal court, a governing body in each county. They're not judges in a courtroom unless otherwise stated, and they do not have any legal authority in county government. Boom! No legal authority in county government. So this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading, exposing one criminal at a time here in Jackson County, Kentucky. And in addition to the fact that this is so indicative of what an agent provocateur would be. Because according to ChatGPT, they will have no online presence. No photos, no bios, no nothing. You don't know who they are. They're hiding. They are the hidden hand behind what's going on here and in your county, in your city, in your state. So beware. Oh yes. And one more thing, because this is like really important. This is really important. So, this is so going back to who this individual might be. I posted this, I think, a year or so ago, because we all know that these freemasons, they're all involved in stalking. All of them. They're all participants, at least here in Jackson County. They're all participating here. So there is a directory online so that when you decide to move, that you can find out where these creatures are located and not move near them. It's called explorefreemasonry.com. Find a Masonic lodge near me. And you can post in your city, your state, or whatever, so that you can find a lodge near you, so that you too will know where these creatures are, to stay clear of them. You know what's going on behind their doors. And if I had known, I would never have moved here. Never. But I'm going to make sure I don't move next to one of these buildings ever in the future. And unfortunately, they are everywhere. Everywhere. Every city, every state. Some of them have a larger presence than others. Some of them have a larger community, larger membership than others. And it is a membership. From what I understand, they have to pay dues. I don't know if they're annual dues or monthly dues, whatever, but they do have to pay. And according to the IRS, they are a 501c3 nonprofit, which means that as a public nonprofit, and they're not private, they are required, it's not considered to be a FOIA request, but you can, in writing, request how many members they have, how much money they bring in, how much money they donate. You are permitted to ask those questions. They're required to provide it to you within 30 days. Otherwise, you can report them to the IRS, and they could potentially lose their tax-exempt status for not providing you the information that you request. So anyway, here you go. One last look. This is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. Leave your questions and comments down below. Share, and I will talk to you guys soon.